Hello guys, welcome back to another tips and tricks video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to find pockets of space, and I think it's a very essential thing to know because like you may be so good at dribbling, so good at like moving the ball, so good at passing, all that, very physical, but your positioning could be the only problem. Sometimes you position yourself, where there's like a lot of defenders, a lot of opponents that are aiming to get the same ball instead of moving into proper space where your teammate could actually play you the ball, and then you can do something good there. So in today's video, we're just going to be focusing on different ways you can find space and also finding space without having the ball. So yeah, if you guys are ready, let's get into the video. Alright, so the very first thing you must know about pockets of space is, but first off, you need to be constantly moving. That's the number one way to find space and create space for your teammate. Like let's say, for example, let's say a midfielder is trying to play the ball. Let's say I'm a striker, because strikers have to move a lot, to receive the ball. Let's say a midfielder has the ball, and here is a defender, which is the cone here in this instance. The midfielder has the ball all the way there, and he's trying to find a pass. But he knows he can't find a pass because if he passes the ball to me, this guy here will get the ball. And you don't want that to happen. So sometimes, just moving around the pitch, the area, and you can see pockets of space. For example, here, now my teammate can play with the ball. What I'm basically trying to explain is that if you are standing here, and I'm trying to play you the ball, like that's going to be impossible. First off, because you're going to lose the ball. Second of all, you can get injured. Like, you tackle you in an awkward way. What you want to do, you want to take the defender out of the game. It's very important. Sometimes you think you move and like your players don't play to you like overlap or underlap. That's great because by you moving into space, it takes other players out of the game and it creates space for other people to go shoot or to find a pass. So for this drill here, I just want you to focus on, you can even pass the ball to the wall, but just focus on really moving first. Great pockets of space, and you can dribble around again, dribble around the cone, come back in, in a different direction, get the ball, like that. So this is kind of really a solo drill that you can do if you don't have anyone to do it with. I think this is the most effective way to do it because the fact that you're moving around and there's cones everywhere that represent defenders, it allows you to make it in a more game-like situation. So, for the next step of today's video is literally sitting in between the lines. Now I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible because I'm only using cones in this video. But usually in a game, you usually have like your two holding midfielders, you have one attacking midfielder, and then these players here could be like, strikers, wingers, and all that. This could also work for in a defensive point of view. But we're going to talk about it in a striker's point of view. Let's say you're a striker, you're number 9, and the midfielders look to play you the ball. But the problem is, you are sitting on top of the defender. You're actually right here. Let's say I'm number 9. You got number 9? This is your center back. You're staying on your center back here. You're making the job very easy for it to get the ball. What you should do instead is learn to sit in between the lines. Split them. When you split them, it gets to make a quick decision and say, oh yeah, I'm either going to mark this guy or I'm either going to leave him. So when you sit in between the lines, a midfielder can directly play you. Let's say the wall is the midfielder, and I'm sitting in between the lines. So pitch the ball, I open my body up and I turn in this direction. Or, for instance, you can also move into a different line. Let's say this line here is the line for center backs. You can move into this line. You got the right back or left back, and you got the other center back here. What you want to do is you midfielder plays the ball, lift your body up, and then you're out in this direction. The most important thing I want you to learn from this is that the fact that you need to open your body up and you need to be moving. That's the point of everything. You need to be moving. If you don't move, nothing works here. Like if I just stand still. If I stand still here, I'll drop in the center. Right here. If I stand still, if they're plays the ball, you're going to play to my back foot. So, play to the ball, see with my back foot. Defender is going to put it up by the time I turn. So it's very important that if you're moving, it will make life difficult for defenders. You even see it in the Premier League. They make life difficult. You see the best teams that know how to keep possession, they're always moving. They're always creating space, finding pockets of space, and making sure that, to kind of make the opposition kind of unaware of where you're going to go. So unpredictability is also a key part of the video. Alright, so the next step of today's video is going to be unpredictable moves. Now, unpredictable moves I think is probably the most important thing here. Because if a player knows where you're going to go, he's always going to track you down. Like, every time in the game, some of you might find this, like, you get into positions where you know you'll get the ball and you know you will do something good with it, but your teammate doesn't play you. Sometimes the case could be that you're in a bad position, or if they play you the ball, it's going to be a bad touch, or there's going to be a man on, all those stuff. But the most important thing here is that I want you to focus on moving, getting into pockets of space. Scatter some cones around, make it more realistic here. So right now I'm going to use the ball. The ball is over here, so the midfielder is going to play it. I'm going to be getting into pockets of space. So I'm going to be constantly moving around. There's no room for it. Just increase the speed a bit. And once you get into that pocket of space, like for example, I'll go into the pocket of space here, because once I turn, I want to have to finish on the ball. So an example could be like this. I'm moving to space. Come around like this, finish on a goal. Like that. Very simple drill. When you move into that space, and when you make your opponents make the decision to go, that's when you can capitalize on them. You can capitalize on the space. You can capitalize on where they're moving. So it's very important that when you move around, when you make unpredictable moves, it makes their life like living hell. That's the thing. If you want that to happen, so that in order for you to score goals like that or get into good positions, you have to have unpredictable moves. Moves that other players won't do, that they are not expecting. Alright, so the next step of today's video is going to be taking your touch to space. It's very important that when you're playing your game, you're constantly moving and you're taking your touch to that space that you want to attack or that you want to capitalize on. So for example, let's say I'm in a midfield position and I'm really trying to finish directly to the midfield. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to constantly be moving like in the previous step. I have to be moving, and then once he plays through the ball, let's say I want to attack this space here because this space is free. What I do is I take my first touch to that space, like this. Like that. It's a very simple drill that any of us can do, all you have to do is constantly be scanning and looking over your shoulder and making sure that the space is free for you to attack on. Alright, so the final step of today's video, I'm going to be taking players out of the game. Now, necessarily, you don't really need a ball to do this because all of this is done without the ball. And I'm going to show you how. So, basically, the fact that I'm saying that you move around, make some particular moves, trick the defender that you go on one side and you go the other, this is it here. What you're going to do here is you're going to start by moving around. Moving around in between the lines, behind defenders, just to confuse them where you're going. And I can even show you a quick example. But let's just say here, this is a defender. Let's just say it's a defender, yeah? This is a defender right here. And I'm standing here. Like, if I want the ball to be played directly to my feet, then I'm gonna have to hold it up, and I'm gonna have to have a good touch and all. But to make my life a little bit easier, is if I can take the defender out of the game completely. If I just move over here, that defender will follow me all the way here. And this is a gap where, in the middle here, someone can receive the ball and attack into space. So sometimes, often a lot of times, when you move and you take defenders out of the game, it creates space for your own player. Some of you may not realize that, but it actually does. When you move around and take players out of the game, let's say, for example, a guy in the midfield has the ball. Let's say, so my player was in the midfield, and he's looking for offense to pass, and I'm aware what I can do. If this is the guy, this is the defender here, I can spread out wide over here so that there's a gap where the ball can be played into, and then I can run onto it. That's what you need to do. You need to know, you need to understand the game a bit more, analyze the situation. So if I go out wide here, this defender will obviously follow me, and then I can make big moves and then run again into the space here. It's very simple. All you have to do is just take a little bit of movement. It's once you really start to move, it makes your life easier in games. Because when you move around looking for pockets of space, looking for a pass, looking for options, like, it makes your life that bit easier. The thing I want you to understand is that if you stay flat-footed, if you stay still, if you stay on top of defenders, and you make their life easier. Their job's already done, because you're just going to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to stay on top of this guy. This guy's not going anywhere, I'm not letting him turn. When you get away from the defender like this, then you can receive the ball, and then you can attack into the space. That's what this drill is all about. Alright guys, so there you have it. A bit of movement, a bit of, moving around and, attacking the space and getting your positioning right. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you guys are new to the channel, do not forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notified every single time I make a video. And yeah, hopefully you guys learned a lot from today's video. Hopefully you apply it in game and you see the difference in your game. And yeah, if there's one thing I want you to take back from this video, is that constantly move, constantly be active. Even if it's in training, even if it's in a friendly game, even if it's a final, constantly be moving. Be moving to receive the ball, be moving to attack the space. Looking for pockets of space is a really key thing as well. Because when you look for pockets of space, it allows you to play in between the lines. It allows you to confuse defenders, confuse even the goalkeeper as well. So it's very important that you sit in between the lines, you move around, you make life harder for other teams, for other players that are playing in your position. If you're playing in the midfield, for example, you make life harder by moving around all the time. So that's very hard for them to mark you. So yeah, that's the thing I want you to take back from today's video. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching Tips and Tricks. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. And do not forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell to get notified every single time I make a video. And this is Tips and Tricks signing out. And we'll catch you guys later in the next one. We out.